Let's dive into the pool, shall we? A big indoor one, of course, so that we don't get hypothermia this time of year. And thankfully, that's where the swim teams like CMR and Great Falls High practice each week, not separately, but together. So how does it work exactly, especially being such crosstown rivals? Our Richard Tiemann has the details.
While Montana is no stranger to rival teams sharing the same field for games and meets, they usually practice on their own turf at home. Not the swim teams in Great Falls. Both the Bison and Rustler boys and girls meet up at Great Falls High every week and practice together as one giant team, even though they'll be each other's competition at meets. And after the Bison and Rustler girls finished first and second at state last season, you have to wonder how they make it work.
You have to be totally honest. I mean, and that comes down to there are girls that will race against each other. Guys, I will tell them exactly how to beat the person next to them. And they know that. And so that goes into the culture and the expectations. The culture that we have here is we do a lot of things like the 4 teams, 1 family. It's something that I started a lot when my first year coaching way back in the early, right at the turn of the century, and it just kind of took on a life of its own.
The culture seems to be working as the Bison girls ended a nearly 45-year drought with last year's state title, and the Rustler girls won 5 straight from 08 to 12. But how do they feel about the culture and practicing with their rivals?
CMR is one of our biggest competitors, and I think it's a really healthy thing, though, because it's like healthy competition. We push each other every single day in practice. But, I mean, I've never heard of any other school having rivalry and practicing together and getting along, because no other sport is like that in Great Falls.
It gives crosstown like a new feeling. It's not something like any other sport can really relate to, so it's a lot of fun, so there's no hard feelings. It's still, you're competitive, but it is a lot of fun.
Okay, I'll buy it. But what about the smack talk at the pool?
There's not much of it. I think the most of that is kind of said just beyond like our own personal team. Like, we'll always be like, oh, they're gonna do so good, and then we'll get to the blocks and be like, hey, we have to beat them. Like, but we're never like saying that to each other's face because we're like a family. So
the swim season continues for the girls and boys January 17th at Havre. From Great Falls, Richard Tiemann, SWX.
All right, thanks, Richard.